Good morning and happy Tuesday. It's day 68 of Walk with Winston. And I am so happy to be with you again this morning with a new distinction that I've embraced and discovered over the past few days as I've been really digging into the resistance that I feel in terms of the progress and the potential that I have in terms of my own transformational journey. And that distinction is perspective. So think about it. When we think about a mindset shift, what precedes a mindset shift? A change in perspective. And, our perspective on life, our perspective about the transformational goals that we have, our view of what is possible, all begins with a change in perspective. Those of you who follow me know that I love to take photos and and I love going into nature and seeing the contrast between light and dark, to see shadow and greenery, and just a shift to a couple feet over or changing the camera angle just a touch changes what I see dramatically. And so as you think about your transformation, your progress, and your potential, we've been talking a lot about mindset and the need to adopt another mindset. But what precedes that is a change in perspective, seeing things from a different angle, or getting a new distinction that really helps us understand the resistance that we're feeling. Have you ever noticed a change in perception and it radically, immediately shifts your action? Well, that's what's happening to me right now in my transformational journey with respect to health. I have been very resistant to some tools from my past that worked very, very well for me. I was talking yesterday to a friend, and I was saying, I've been 60 pounds heavier than I am right now, and I've been 80 pounds lighter than where I am right now. And what worked for me when I was lighter was that I was viewing accountability with a very different lens, not as an edict, not as something that was being imposed on me from above, but it was something that was coming from me and something that I was seeking. And it all, exact same tools, exact same structure, but very, very different perspective in terms of my acceptance of and willingness to embrace those tools. And so what's shifted for me over the past few days is only perspective. I'm now viewing these tools as feedback mechanisms, as things that are in my arsenal, at my disposal, at my command, to help me with the steps, the daily, repetitive, small little steps that I take that over time prepares the field for a bountiful harvest. And so perhaps the resistance that you're feeling to the transformation that you're going through is one of perspective. I love language. Language is a great way to shift our perspective. Our friend Chris Pavone, I love how he talks about the yard work that he has to do in his yard. He has a nice house in South Tampa, and it can be very, very hot and humid here. And he talks about how he gets to do certain things versus he has to do certain things. And just that one word, 3 letters in both cases, is a fundamental shift in his excitement and willingness to take on the task at hand. I get to do this versus he has to do something. So language is a very powerful lever in our tool in terms of perspective. And so this is why I'm a strong advocate of hiring a coach, because they sit outside of us. They don't have our life. They don't have our mindset. They don't have our stories that we've been telling ourselves habitually about our situation. And because they sit outside with a completely different perspective, you know, instead of seeing this view behind me, they see that tree in front of me. You know, so they have a totally different perspective. And so a good coach, a great coach, is a wonderful listener. They're listening for the language that we use, because those are tells. Those are telltale signs of our mindset and of our perspective. And so they're carefully listening to whether we have a victim mentality, a hopeless mentality, and they're hearing those almost imperceptible changes in language, particularly as we work with them over time. So while I love the idea of a half day or full day intensive with a coach to really get in and do something significant, I find even greater value by working with coaches and mentors over time, because now even the slightest shift in my language is a tell in terms of whether I am stepping into my transformation or not. Those of you who've been with me on the walk now for 68 days, have you noticed a shift in my language, a shift in my capability, my confidence, my perception of what's possible with this transformation? I feel it tremendously in just the last week. Big shift. And it's because I've changed my perception about these tools that have worked well for me in my past that now I'm just picking up again and viewing with an entirely new lens. So my encouragement to you this morning is, especially if you are a person who leads others, who mentors others, who coaches others, or you aspire to be one of those, don't do that alone. Your perception of yourself, your capabilities, your commitments, really, the people you're leading depend upon your language, your perception, your capability. And having outside perspective, particularly with a coach or mentor over time, is going to help you pick up on those cues and give you that entirely different perspective that I think is going to radically unlock the resistance that you've been facing. So I hope this is encouraging to you. Take a look. And sometimes just, journaling what's going on with you also gives you a new perspective on things. But get under the mentorship and coaching of someone that you trust, that you resonate with, and who is on your side to help you unlock the potential that's just in front of you. You have a purpose, and I believe in you, and I believe that under a coach's mentorship, we can unlock that together. So with that, you guys have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you again soon.